Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. We're going to have a look at the coming month in today's video. So we're doing JMA Friday, and we're going to have the Japanese and the CFSV2 models to go at to see what they're showing for the coming month. This just about takes us to the start of April. I think go to the very last day of March, and maybe the Thursday of April. We'll see as we go along. But we're certainly going through most of March with this update. It's snowing across northern England, and it's piling up in one or two places as well. So we'll start off having a look at the radar picture from the weather outlook for that. But before I get on with that, just to say about the ads that goes over this, there's links to articles on all of the pages. You can have a browse widgets and click through those links, go off and read the article, as long as you're interested in it, of course. And thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on those pages, which open up the content, you'll also close back up again. And that's helping to pay for our website. So, as I say, it is snowing across northern England. Of course, we've been expecting bit of a wintry day in the north. So this is a radar picture from the weather outlook. Here we go. Got a band of rain across northern England, or a band of precipitation. If I show you the precipitation type, you can see where the snow is. There's quite a lot of it, actually. Quite vibrant pink colours over northern England. I was expecting this to be more confined to the higher ground. I must say, it's a little bit more widespread than perhaps I thought it would be on Snow Watch last night. Of course, we always thought there'd be this distinct band across northern England. I thought it'd be more sort of a rain or sleety mix at lower levels, but quite a snow event is going on across northern England, and it's a bit stuck there. So the snow, where it is snowing, that snow is piling up. I've seen some pretty dramatic looking pictures of quite deep snow that have been posted on the website and also tweeted to me. So if you've got any pictures of snow, maybe you can post them on the website, or you can tweet them, or you can email them to me at gavsworthis@gmail.com. So, yeah, it's a bit of a wintry afternoon up there. This band is going to weaken this afternoon as it pushes southwards, but it could bring some wintry showers through Wales and Midlands, possibly parts of Lincolnshire and East Anglia as well through this afternoon and into this evening. So let's get on with the Japanese update then. We're going to start off with 500 with our height anomalies, broken down into weekly periods. So the first week period will take us from the 4th through to the 11th of March, the week that we're currently in. Blue is extrapolating to low pressure, and orange, yellow, red, brighter colours extrapolating to high pressure. So for the coming week, we've got this trough of low pressure sitting to the south. We've got a ridge out to the west and to the north of the country as well, and it means that the flow is going rather like that. It's a bit of a complicated one, but the flow is going a bit like this. We're on the cold side of the jet, although later on next week I think it will start to turn milder. This is particularly for the early part of the period, so now over the weekend into the start of next week will be quite cold, and then probably a bit of a recovery in the temperatures taking place after that. But it's quite a cold week coming up, with the ridge out to the north and west and the trough down to the south and the east. Week 2, which is the 11th through to the 18th of March, looks like this, and that ridge builds over the country. Here it comes with the yellow colours building through the country and pushing up to the north as well. It means that the trough is pushed out to the west. This is quite a nice pattern, actually. This is a bit of a taste of spring, with the flow going rather like that. It places us on the mild side of the jet stream, and we're within a ridge. So this could be a bit of a taste of spring, I think, as we're going through into this middle phase of March. Because the temperatures are pushing up to the mid-teens Celsius here, and a lot of dry weather, I would think, particularly in the south and the east. Could be some rain at times in the north and west, but overall that does look really quite a pleasant week coming up. However, it all goes downhill rapidly for the second half of the month. So this is week 3 and week 4, and for this one we're going from the 18th of March through to the 1st of April. So we're just going to the start of the new month, and that ridge goes and we've got a deep trough set up over the top of the country. Notice we've got blocking up to the north over top of the pole, and the jet stream is going south again. The jet stream is going around that trough like that. The ridge over the pole is probably entrenching cold air down into the trough, so that could be quite a cold end to March, I would think, and quite unsettled as well. Of course, Easter's very early this year. Easter is, I think it's the last weekend of March. So this does encompass the Easter period, and it could be, well, we've seen the headlines, haven't we, about a cold spell for Easter and a white Easter. It could actually come off based on these charts that we have. Quite a cold Easter. Of course, the papers will always go over the top about this kind of stuff, and I doubt it'll be Snowmageddon for Easter. But it could be a fairly cold and unsettled pattern that's setting up here for the end of March, which encompasses the Easter period. You wouldn't rule out from that sort of chart the chance of some wintry conditions over the Easter period. Let's have a look at the temperatures. Those are the 500 millibar high anomalies from the North Pole looking down. This is the mid-latitude and tropical view. So on this chart, the British Isles is just here in the very, very far top right-hand corner of the chart as you look at it. This is the temperature anomaly for the coming week. This is the 4th through to the 11th, and the JMA model is going for generally quite a cool week. Average temperatures in the north, cooler than average in the south. Quite a chilly week coming up. The rainfall forecast, precipitation, is coming out close to normal, maybe even a little bit below average. So fairly dry-ish. Will be some rain at times, but fairly dry-ish, but quite cool for the coming week. Week 2, which is the 11th to the 18th. This is one where the ridge is building in, remember. I said probably looks spring-like, and indeed the temperatures are going well above average. So that's a really nice week coming up there, the 11th to the 18th of March. Temperatures responding to that ridge and becoming really very pleasantly mild and spring-like. The rainfall forecast switches around a bit, so the north and west goes a bit wetter than average, the south and east goes a bit drier. I think that's a bit pessimistic, really. On the base of the 500 millibar height anomaly, I would expect that to be a warmer, drier week than that is showing. And then week 3 and week 4, this is when that trough sets up over the country, and we probably entrench colder air via northern blocking into that trough. So this is from the 18th of March through to the 1st of April, and we see that the temperature anomaly is around average, maybe hinting at being a bit colder than average. So it definitely cools down from that middle part of March. There's definitely a drop in the temperature anomaly taking place here. Maybe not as cold as I would think, but maybe this is a 2-weekly anomaly. So if week 3, for instance, is a transitional, and then week 4 is the cold week, then it'll come out closer to average. But definitely a drop in temperature takes place there anyway, compared to the middle part of the month. Rainfall or precipitation is going above average in that 2-weekly period as well. So that looks a pretty grim second half to March, and as I say, it does encompass the Easter period. So that's the JMA model. Let's have a look at the CFS V2. Again, these are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first weekly period is the 4th through to the 10th of March. And very, very similar to the JMA for the coming week. We've got this trough of low pressure down to the south and the east. We've got the ridge out to the west and extending up to the northwest as well. The jet stream goes like that. So again, it's cool, it's unsettled. Most unsettled in the south and the east, driest in the north and the west. But it places us on the cold side of the jet, and quite a cold week, or a cool week anyway, coming up. Week 2, is the 11th through to the 17th of March. Bit of a change on this one compared to the JMA, because it's setting up high pressure to the east across Scandinavia with a trough out to the west. The flow is going like that, but this high pressure over Scandinavia could be bringing easterly winds through the country. And in March, it really does depend what the temperature's like on the continent as to whether that's a cold easterly or whether it's generally a little bit on the milder side. So it would depend greatly on whether there's a supply of cold down on the continent. Because we've had such a mild winter, the North Sea is generally warmer than average, and the continent is not particularly cold. So anytime wind goes into the east, probably won't be as cold as you would expect if we'd had a cold winter, but nevertheless that could be dragging in some fairly cool air from off the continent for week 2. And that's the week where the JMA wants to build the high over the country and give us a taste of spring. So very subtle differences. From the JMA, it places it around the UK. The CFS, it places it over Scandinavia, but it could make a big difference to the actual temperature. Week 3, we go back on course between the CFS and the JMA, because CFS V2 is doing this. It's getting rid of that ridge very quickly and setting up a trough of low pressure right over top of the country. There's hints of some northern blocking as well. So again, this is cool and unsettled, probably entrenching cold air into that trough via the blocking that's over the North Pole. That could be quite a cool wet week coming up there, the 18th, 24th of March. And very little changes go through to week 4, which is the 25th to the 31st of March, still hinting at the chopping right over top of the country, with ridging up to the north and well out to the west. Again, we could be bringing cool air down into that trough of low pressure. The temperatures are looking like this. If we just close in on this a little bit, I've pulled it out, so let's just close in, and there we go. So the temperature anomaly for the coming week comes out colder than average. There it is, below average temperatures for the coming week. Week 2, this when the ridge builds over Scandinavia, that's coming out milder than average. So agreement between the JMA and the CFS V2 for that middle part of March to be significantly milder, although they differ about the pattern that's bringing that about and where the ridge is sitting, but they both agree in terms of the temperature anomaly. Week 3, the temperatures drop down to average, so there's a cooling process taking place as that trough is setting up over top of the country. It cools down 18th to 24th of March. And then finally, week 4, which is the final week of March, that's near normal. Hints at a little bit above average down in the south. I think it would probably be cooler than that given the pattern. Finally, the precipitation for the coming month, the next week, is looking near normal with the rainfall. Bit drier than average in the northwest, a bit wetter than average in the south and the east. Week 2 looks generally a bit drier than average, near normal to drier than average through most parts, particularly so in the north. That's a nice week that's setting up through the middle part of March. Both the CFS V2 and the JMA are in agreement with this, that this middle phase of March is probably the best of the month. And then week 3, the trough comes back, the ridge goes very quickly, so it turns generally a bit wetter than average. And week 4, it's probably losing the signal here as we get into week 4, but it's showing average precipitation then. So I think we've got fairly good agreement actually between the two models for how things are playing out in March. Good, doesn't mean they're right. They could both be getting the signal wrong, but the signal is really for quite a cool and dryish week in the coming week. Temperatures below average. Then week 2, the middle part of March, looks quite nice. They're both in agreement that temperatures go milder than average. We get a burst of spring. That could be very pleasant, maybe lift temperatures up to the mid-teens Celsius. But then it all goes downhill into the second half of the month very, very quickly. Turns much more unsettled and colder potentially as well, with quite a cool or even cold and wet spell setting up into the second half of March. That encompasses Easter, so it may not be the greatest Easter we've ever had, to say the least. Right, that's all for now. It's the weekend forecast tomorrow, and also tomorrow we'll have a look at the CAN-SIPS model for the next 6 months. It's CAN-SIPS Saturday, that'll be tomorrow evening, so come back to both of those updates tomorrow. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.